Welcome to Corks and Cauldron, where two friends uncork a bottle, cast a few spells, and dive deep into fantasy books and theories. Tonight, however, we're switching things up a little bit. I'm Jen.
And I'm Gabby. And instead of fantasy, we're diving into something a little bit more real. The book we're covering is going to be Take My Hand by Dolen Perkins-Valdez, is how I'm going to say the name. I'm not 100% sure on that pronunciation. Do not at me. Before we get started, this episode has a ton of trigger warnings. This book I think it's an important book to read, but your mental health is more important and your boundaries are more important. This book covers medical racism, reproductive rights, and forced sterilization, just to hit on a few of the hot and heavy topics. It's heavy, but it's an important discussion that I felt was super important to talk about. To be completely upfront and to be completely transparent. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but we are two white women. So we're coming at this from the two white women lens point of view. And we're both pro-choice. So we're coming at it with that perspective as well. So I think we can both admit that those are biases that we had reading this book. However, we just wanted to be upfront and clear about that. And yeah.
Neither of us is going to understand this but we're here. I'm here to listen. Gabby's here to talk, and we're going to discuss.
Hopefully we're going to learn a few things along the way. Let's talk about the wine, because this book made me drink. It's a good book. I can't emphasize that enough. I hesitate to say that I enjoyed the book, but it was a really good read, is maybe how I'll phrase that. But we are drinking Apothic Crush because the story is crushing and heartbreaking and horrifying. And if I'm gonna emotionally spiral over a book, I want something smooth and drinkable. So that's what we're doing here tonight. This is a silky red blend. So it's got mostly Merlot, I know, calm down guys, and Syrah. So it's rich, but it doesn't punch you in the face, like it's not going to be super dry like a lot of them are. Much like this book, it pulls you in gently before wrecking your entire emotional state. So something to look forward to.
It's got red berry, caramel, and vanilla notes, which means it's a little sweet, a little moody, and just bitter enough to remind you of the injustices in this book. Basically, it's the liquid equivalent of staring out a rainy window and contemplating systemic oppression. That's a lot for that poor bottle.
Put a lot of pressure on that pop. The nice thing about this wine, though, is it's like $10. It's super affordable. And it's easy to find. Hy-Vee carries it, super like Walmart, local grocery stores, local wineries.
To be clear, that's local grocery stores if you live in a state where they sell alcohol in grocery stores.
True. Fair enough. Yeah.
Check your local liquor store if you're not in the state that does that.
Okay. That blew my mind. Okay. So I'm going to read the back of the book just to kind of give you guys an overview, and then you can decide if you want to listen or not. I don't think I'm speaking for Jen, but I'm going to say we're not going to be mad if you skip this episode due to the topic. It's a heavy topic. So, all right. So the back of the book reads, it's inspired by the true story of the Ralph sisters, who are two young Black girls in Montgomery, Alabama, who were forcibly sterilized without consent in 1973. Fresh out of nursing school, Sybil Townsend intends to make a difference, especially in her African-American community. At the Montgomery Family Planning Clinic, she hopes to help women shape their decisions, to make their own choices for their lives and their bodies. But when her first week on the job takes her along a dusty country road to a worn-out, one-room cabin, Sybil is shocked to learn that her new patients, Erica and India, are children, just 11 and 13 years old. So these are literally children. Neither of the Williams sisters has ever even kissed a boy, but they are poor and Black, and for those handling the family's welfare benefits, it's reason enough to have the girls on birth control. As Sybil grapples with her role, she takes India, Erica, and their family into her heart, until one day she arrives at the door to learn the unthinkable has happened, and nothing will be the same for any of them. Decades later, with her daughter grown and a long career in her wake, Dr. Sybil Townsend is ready to retire, to find her peace, and to leave her past behind. but there are people and their stories that refuse to be forgotten and that must not be forgotten. Because history repeats what we don't remember. So, Jen, if you were at a bookstore and you picked up this book and you read the back, would you read it?
Yeah, I think I would. To be clear, it's definitely outside of my, it's
I was
well
gonna say,
outside of my normal book. Well outside of my current normal books.
I would have to be in the right mindset for this. Yeah. This is not an easy fantasy. Not that a lot of fantasy books are easy, but this is not a light read. It's not a light read. It's not an escapism read. It's not lights out kind of vibes.
No.
But
so yeah, I would probably buy it or borrow it if it was at the library. So, because I do go to the library and borrow books still.
And you started listening to it.
I
right?
did. The Libby app actually originally told me that there was like an 8-week wait. And then all of a sudden it was available. I don't know if everybody's just going through it at 1.5 speed, but yeah, you get it for 21 days. So I'm sure that people are just going through it a lot faster than that.
It's a book that sucks you in. Like once you start it, you don't really want to put it down. So my personal overall vibe, my thoughts about this book, general impressions is I read it and I was heartbroken and horrified. And I kept wanting to talk about it to people because I felt like it was such an important thing that no one talks about. Like we just touched on, we were sucked in almost immediately from the very get of the story, which that's not unusual for me. When I find a story, I tend to get sucked in right away. People complain about Throne of Glass and having to wait like 3-4 books to get sucked in, but I liked the first book. So getting sucked in is not unusual for me. It's not a documentary, right? It's not a true story. It's loosely based on a true story. So I enjoyed it. I found myself, I'm going to do a little bit of spoiler for you, Jen. I'm sorry. I found myself annoyed with like the love plot line in the story. It felt unnecessary to me. I don't know how
with
far.
Mace?
Yeah.
Okay.
It felt unnecessary. I think they added it in to make the story more palatable to the masses. I don't know I don't know your vibe on that or what you think about that, but
I wasn't sure. You know, I haven't quite gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
I in the 10-hour stretch, I think I'm at about hour 3 or 4.
Okay.
So it was like right after stuff hit the newspapers.
Okay.
About the girls. So you kind of see a little bit of the hint toward it.
Nothing ever ends up happening. I'm going to ruin that for you right now.
No, I already caught that. Yeah. She's pretty open that she chooses to never, after the one relationship I think she has, she never has another one. Or at least never really indicates that she has anything else quite like that.
I'll give you that. And I just think they just added that storyline to make it palatable. I don't know if that's actually what happened with these characters, like with these people, not characters, with the people in real life. I don't know. I think it's a romance author is writing this and they have to sprinkle romance in.
Fair.
That's my personal feelings. I don't know. I haven't done any research on that. Please don't at me. I'll cry. But it didn't distract from the storyline. It just didn't really add anything to it, if that makes sense. Let's see what else I want to talk about. Again, I've been wanting to talk about this book for like weeks since I finished it, but I'll always recommend it. But it's one of those you have to be in the right mind frame and you have to be clear about what people are getting into with this one.
So why did you end up picking up this book?
Oh, it was for our book club. So my only requirement for book club was I wanted to read something by a Black author. It's February. It's Black History Month. I just wanted to do a small thing, a nod towards Black history. And so this was recommended by someone in my book club. And I will never forgive her for recommending this. But she's reading Throne of Glass and I'm making her cry. So I guess we're even. So. But again, this is a book I'll recommend with a ton of trigger warnings. I'm not just going to recommend it to anyone, especially if they're already going through a hard time. This is not a book that you read. you read it for fun, right? Like, it's not a scholarly book, but it's not a lighthearted read.
Right.
So, okay, this is our first mini episode, so I'm going to try to do this as best I can. Please be nice to me. I'm a very sensitive soul. Okay, so this book flip-flops between past and present. So it flip-flops between like 1973 and I want to say 2016. So present-ish.
Right.
Yeah. And we meet Sybil Townsend. She is a nurse. The whole book is set in like, she's reminiscing, right? She's thinking about her past, what all happened. And that's what the book is about. I got the vibe that she was writing to her adoptive daughter. And that's kind of how I read the future scenes or the current scenes. It almost felt like a goodbye letter, but it also maybe just like a you're an adult now, good luck in college letter. I don't know. What did you get from it?
I kind of took it as she just needed to get this out on paper.
Okay.
And she was trying to explain to her daughter why she was the way she was, is kind of how I was taking it.
Do you think they had like a falling out before?
I don't know if they had a falling out or if it was just her trying to explain, because there's a couple of times in there where it hits on her mom didn't approve of the way she was raising her.
Mm-hmm.
Her friends don't approve of the way she's raising her.
Yeah.
You know, and even her daughter tells her she's an old maid because she's never been married.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And she's kind of explaining why she is the way she is.
Okay.
This is kind of now that you're older,
you're going to go out into the world. I need to explain this to you. And also, here's a life lesson. Like, there's a lot of life lessons in this book. Okay, so we start the book, and in the first flashback, we meet Sybil Townsend. She's a fresh graduate. She graduated 2 days ago, baby graduate from nursing school. And she comes from what she even acknowledges as a quote-unquote privileged background. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, she is a young Black woman in the 70s in the South. So, privileged for her socioeconomic status, if that makes sense. Her dad was a doctor in town, so already you're making a lot of money, right? And her mom was a stay-at-home mom / artist. They had running water, which was in the house, like indoor plumbing, which apparently was not common in the 70s, which blew my mind. I thought everyone had indoor plumbing in the 70s, but I'm just a baby. Jen, you've been around since the 1800s.
I was actually born in the 70s.
I don't know. I'm a 90s baby, and so I grew up with indoor plumbing, right? Like, granted, I'm older than Google, but indoor plumbing is something I just kind of took for granted. We've always had it, mm-hmm. you know? But like, I grew up on a farm and we had spigots outside, you know, that we would drink during the summer. We were drinking water out of those.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I have a decent amount of lead poisoning. But anyway, back to Sybil. She's excited about her first post-grad job. And honestly, this job sounds perfect for her. She's working for a federally funded women's clinic in town. She's a firm believer that women should have the opportunity to plan their families. And there's even a line where she says something to the effect of, quote, "With the power of birth control, I will be helping women plan their families." So she is staunchly pro-choice. If you want to have babies, that's great, but you should have that choice if you want them and when you want them. The clinic she works for only helps women, so it's only a women's clinic. And that's something that's pointed out to her right away when she's hired and drilled into her during her tenure there. Her boss is a strict, middle-aged white woman named Linda, because of course it is. And Linda has bright red hair that is sprayed into a helmet, and they make fun of it so much in this book, and I am here for it. Sybil starts out being really, really impressed with Linda. Like, she's looking at Linda as a role model almost. Mm-hmm. After all, from Sybil's initial perspective, there's this white lady who is intentionally helping the poor Black community plan their families and is just trying to do the right thing, is how it's explained to us, right? So in the clinic, Sybil becomes fast friends with another nurse named Alicia. And these These two women both went to nursing school. They're about the same age, and that's about all they have in common. Two completely different backgrounds. Sybil, again, fairly privileged. Her dad was a doctor. She had a leg up on the nursing thing because she grew up with a doctor dad. Alicia came from a poor farm family, so she didn't really have a safety net to fall back on if something happened to her. She moved away from her family to work in this clinic. If Sybil got fired or quit from the clinic for whatever reason, she knew she could go work for her dad. No questions asked. She would have a safety net to fall back on. Alicia didn't have that. All she had was bills to keep her company, and we've all been there, right? Like, we've all worked a job because we got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So she had to keep her job until another one was lined up, and that point is going to become super important later on. So Sybil is assigned her first case in this job. Each nurse is assigned a case outside of the clinic. The clinic is open for walk-ins or appointments for people to come into, but they also travel out to these families because they recognize that not everyone has a means to get in to see them, which I think is kind of cool. Like, a traveling nurse, a local traveling nurse, that's kind of cool. But Sybil's case is the Williams sisters, two young girls, 13 and 11, and they need their depot shot. So, for those who don't know, the depot shot is a birth control method, and it's a shot that you get every 3 months. It's effective for 3 months. At this point in history, so in 1973, the FDA had not approved depot for use in humans. So it has not been approved for general contraceptive use at all. It was still being tested, and it was being tested on typically poor Black and Indigenous women without their full understanding or consent. And Sybil finds this out after she's been administrating it, and there's been links to cancer with a shot and the few testing that has been done. I used to take the depot shot every 3 months. It was great. I didn't have to worry about the birth control pill every day. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, 11 and 13, these girls are girls. Like, they're not even women yet. They're not even interested in boys yet. They're not even bleeding yet. There's really no reason for them to be on. Well, the 13-year-old might, but, or what is.
Yeah.
I think it's stated that it is. But the 11-year-old is not. And the 11-year-old is also getting the depot shot, which is horrifying to think about. So that's how she meets the family. She meets a whole Williams family by being their traveling nurse. Mm-hmm. The first time she goes to their house, it's a shack, right? Like, she goes to the back of some farm building or farmland into a shack in the back 40 where they live. And they are dirt floor poor. Mm-hmm. They don't have a real floor in their house. It is literally just a shack in the woods that they are living in. Sybil makes a lot of observations that first time about how crowded and dirty and smelly the house is. She hones in a lot on the sense of smell, which I get. I would also struggle with that. Dirty clothes are everywhere in the house. It's just not a clean environment, especially for two young girls, mm-hmm. much less a family. And the grandmother, who is also there the first time she meets them, is literally cooking stew out of a hole in the middle of the floor, which I have never seen before. I didn't know that was a thing. Huh? I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we had sod houses in Nebraska because it was insulated, kept about the same temperature year round. Sybil is really struggling with this shock, I guess, of seeing how poor this family is. These young girls don't even have proper period wear. So the previous nurse was supposed to drop off pads for them and only dropped off a few and never gave them any coaching or training on you have to change it regularly. Yeah. People don't just know that, right? And so she has to tell the oldest that you have to change the pads regularly, like don't reuse them. Erica, the oldest, eventually tells Sybil that she is constantly bleeding ever since she's been on the shot, which should have been the first red flag. And looking back, it raised some suspicions for Sybil, but she didn't really do anything at that point. So I'm going to fast forward through the book a little bit because it's a great book, but we don't need to go into all the details here. Most of the story is about how Sybil ends up taking this family under her wings and really like integrating into the family. She buys the girls the basic necessities, new clothes, underwear, soap, fungus soap, things like that. She just shows them basic human decency. She gets to know the girls a little bit more, and the whole family ends up adopting her and or her adopting them. Like it really seemed like a really symbiotic relationship. The whole family, I don't think I explained this, but it's the grandmother, the father, and the two girls. The mother had previously died, and with them being a poor Black family, none of them can read. The grandmother can't read, the father can't read, the girls don't know how to read. None of them are literate. So apparently, in the 70s, which was not that long ago, just so we're clear, like 70s was not that long ago, but apparently it was really common for the poors to not be educated.
Like 50 years ago.
Okay. That's still like my parents are in that age.
Yeah.
Like it's not that long ago. So the not being literate thing is going to come into play later. I really wanted to point that out. Okay, so Sybil has taken this whole family under her wing, right? She's really taking care of them. She's helping them get some government benefits, right? So she helps them get into some subsidized housing so they can get out of a shack and into an actual house with a floor. It blows my mind. I can't. And the father is able to get a steady job at the pickle plant just outside of town. So he gets a reliable ride, reliable transportation, a reliable job. And they're in government subsidized housing, which means they pay a portion and then the government picks up the tab for the rest. So it's not like they're not paying anything, right? The girls eventually get enrolled in school and everything seems to be turning around. Everything is going great. Also, Sybil stops giving them the shot. She's just like, well, I'm uncomfortable with this. I've gotten to know the girls better. They're not sexually active. There's no reason for them to be on the shots. And they don't really... Go ahead.
Her best friend actually tells her that the depot shot is bad for them.
Her ex-boyfriend tells
Same
her
thing.
the depot shot is bad for him. That's a good call out. Thank you. Yeah. So I don't remember how it comes up, like why she's talking about it at all. But it comes up that like her ex-boyfriend and also her almost baby daddy, we'll get into that later, learns about the girls taking the depot shot and is like, Sybil, you know that this depot shot is not FDA approved. Like they've done tests and the testing in animals has been linked to cancer and you're giving these women, these girls, these young girls shots. Sybil has a whole spiral about it. She really struggles with it. On one hand, I mean, birth control, right? It's great. But you need to be consenting to it. You need to understand what's happening to your body with it. Right? Like we can agree on that, right? We also find out second chapter in this book, really early in this book, that Sybil herself had an abortion. And I just want to be very clear, like abortions in the 70s, even after Roe v. Wade, were not safe. Like the way that Sybil describes her abortion experience was...
It's pretty terrifying.
It's so terrifying. Like
it was not good.
Yeah. A friend found her a trustworthy doctor to go to their house, basically. I don't know if you've gotten this far, but Sybil has a memory of the abortion. And at one point she says, I remember thinking, I'm not even going to get fully undressed for the biggest moment in my life. The doctor tells me just to take off my pants. I'm not even going to take off my shirt for this. And that is horrifying to think about. And it could have ended really badly for Sybil. She got lucky. But abortions were really taboo. So she didn't have anyone to talk to about the trauma that was. And not just the physical trauma, but it's a big deal to make that decision. Everyone should have the right to make that decision, but it's not an easy decision. And that should be your decision, right? Off on a tangent on that one. I'm so sorry. While Roe had been enacted, had been like put into place, it was not easily enforceable. Alabama had not caught up to it. I think if we had read this book 3 years ago, it would not have hit as hard as reading it today.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Sybil and his family, their BFFs, are still hanging out. Everything is going great. The family has their government housing. The father has a job. Everyone's clean and happy and healthy. And there's like some low-key flirting going on between Mace, the father, and Sybil, which, okay, I get it, right? Like, you spend a ton of time together. I'm sure they were reasonably attractive, whatever. It didn't add anything to the storyline for me. So I don't really care about the romance side. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So one day, Sybil goes to the house randomly. Like, she wasn't supposed to go there for any reason. She just...
The youngest daughter
India.
got accepted into St. Jude.
Oh, yeah.
The school.
Yeah, and she was excited to tell her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's nonverbal and she's special needs.
Do we ever find out, like, what she's diagnosed with?
I don't know. I mean, I'm only this far in and I
Right.
have not.
I don't think we do. Oh, but that is a good call out that I didn't do earlier. Thanks, Jen. So Erica is the 13-year-old, and she's fairly normal for being an uneducated 13-year-old, I'll say. Right? But India is nonverbal. But I don't think she's on the spectrum either. I just don't think she likes to talk, honestly, is the vibe I got.
That could be it.
But she's nonverbal. She does communicate, but it's in like grunts. It's not using words.
Yeah.
But she makes eye contact. That's why I don't think she's on the spectrum. Anyway, Sybil takes her to a doctor's appointment to test her to see if she could be into a school. Eventually finds a St. Jude's school for... I don't even know if we know, like, just St. Jude's school. It's part of a church.
It's part of a church. That's all I remember.
And they provide specialized education and specialized attention for kids like that. And Sybil is excited that she's approved to get into that. And she goes to the house to tell him. And the grandmother answers and says, well, I mean, the girls are at the doctor's office. I thought you knew about that. Oh, God, this is horrifying to talk about. Turns out Linda, Sybil's boss, the head lady at the family planning clinic, went to the house, had the grandmother sign papers.
Grandmother and father,
who, again, are both illiterate, who could not read the papers, who just signed their names using an X. They didn't even sign their actual name. It was just an X on the name line. Signed papers to have these girls sterilized against their will and against their parents, their guardians' will. And it's... that's horrifying. Mm-hmm. A 13-year-old and 11-year-old being sterilized in general is horrifying, but against its guardian's will adds an extra layer to it. Okay, so Sybil, rightfully so, freaks out, drives to the hospital, gets to the hospital, finds the girls, and the girls are in horrible pain, and no one is giving them any pain meds, and it's like they were just basically being ignored in recovery. Sybil's too late to stop it. She got there shortly after the surgery.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the girls were awake, so long enough after, but too late to stop it, and it's irreversible. Once it's done, it's done. So yeah, medical racism. That's fun. Love dealing with that. Sybil eventually does get them some pain meds to kind of tide them over. And then she has a little bit of a meltdown and drives, which is not safe, ends up in a car accident herself, and has to be taken care of from that. Yeah. that is like the peak of the book right there, is that happening. Do you have anything to add or comment or say? I kind of want to throw up a little bit.
She really is able to use her father in
She
this
does.
respect
She leverages that.
because she knows that most doctors and nurses think that people of color have a higher pain tolerance, so they don't need pain meds
they think
as
that.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Right,
that's what the
paraphrasing.
belief was there.
Yeah.
And she really pushes that her father, she's going to have him help here. And this is, if I remember right, they were at a white hospital.
Predominantly white hospital, yeah.
And
which I'm sure was government funded. I'm sure the government paid for this.
Yeah. And the grandma and dad, their understanding of what was going to happen to the girls wasn't they were just going for their shot.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that that Civil had stopped giving them the shot.
Yeah, as far as they knew, that the girls were still getting their shots. Everything was still quote unquote normal. Yeah.
And the reason that she decided that those girls needed tubal ligations was because Civil had taken it upon herself to get them away from the house that they lived in.
Oh, yeah.
And she got them an apartment where there are boys.
Here's the thing. I'm not defending Linda. Linda can fuck off for all we know, or all we care, right? Just, I truly think Linda thought she was doing the right thing. I think in her heart of hearts, Linda thought that this was the right thing to do. It was a poor family. Not having kids to perpetuate the poverty is the right thing to do in Linda's mind. No. I said that. I cannot be any more clear about this. Linda had no right to do that to anyone. It's really easy to look back at it in a 2025 white woman lens that Linda probably thought she was doing the right thing. In her heart of hearts, as wrong as she was, I think she thought she was doing the right thing for the girls and for the community and whatever. You're looking at me like I am wrong. I'm not happy that I said this. I just think it's important to point out that in every side of history, every side of the war, everyone fighting thinks that they're right, that they're doing the right thing. Again, Linda can fuck all the way off. I'm not okay with this. I truly think she thought she was doing the right thing. Not an excuse, an explanation.
And one that would work just as easily now.
It really would.
As it did in 1973.
The 70s. Yeah.
That was the face I was giving you. Sorry.
It's okay.
It wasn't necessarily you. It was the fact that
this book brought up a lot of feelings. I had a lot of feelings reading this book. Because it's scary how close this is becoming to our reality. Granted, you're married, so you're fine, right?
I'm married.
My point is, yeah. Anyway, so that's the climax of the book is these girls are sterilized against their will. Sybil has a meltdown about it, rightfully so.
Yeah. She calls their dad right before the meltdown too.
She does. And
she called his job from a payphone.
His factory job.
And when you put money in a payphone, there is a time limit. So she gets on the phone with him, is explaining what happened. She starts to freak out and the phone cuts off.
She apologizes. I know she specifically apologizes.
She
and she gets
she tells him where they are, and what happened.
Did she tell him what happened? But he didn't understand because she used the medical term. Yeah. And so he's like, I don't understand. And I don't think the father, I don't think he was, how do I say this? He wanted his girls to have a family if they wanted. He wanted that option for them. And it was literally ripped away from them. And that's God, I'm starting to tear up. That is heartbreaking. I don't even like kids. Kids freak me out. But women should have the choice, right? Like, nothing should have been taken away from them. Anyway, the rest of the book is basically about the lawsuit.
Yeah.
They end up working with a young white lawyer, and Sybil's initial reaction to this poor little white boy is like, you're a white boy. What are you can't accurately help us. It's not that you're not on our side. You don't know. You're not in the community. Because remember, the 70s was right after a lot of the civil rights movements, right? And so there was a whole Black community that was really, really tight. And yes, there was some like white allies, but they weren't as included, you know? The rest of the book isn't boring. It's just boring to talk about. It's a lot of the lawsuit. Eventually, they do end up winning the lawsuit, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. They kind of win the lawsuit. They have the initial lawsuit against the state, I want to say. And then they end up dropping that lawsuit. And Sybil is like, what the fuck? Why are you dropping this lawsuit? I thought you were on our side. Turns out they dropped that lawsuit so they could go after the federal government. And they end up winning the case against the federal government. Mm-hmm. So, good for them. That got us to where we were at 6 years ago. Not today, but we're not getting into that. Yeah. And so the family ends up moving away after the lawsuit. They just needed a fresh start. The girls were traumatized, by the sterilization, and then by being paraded through the lawsuit, right? Like, they had to go to court. They had to go do the testimonies and all of that. Like, they had been through a lot. They needed to get away. And so I feel so bad. They end up just like dropping the fact that the family's moving away on Sybil in the middle of a family Thanksgiving. They're like, everyone's at Thanksgiving. They're having a good time. And the grandma's like, oh, by the way, we're moving 4 hours away. Peace. Bye. And Sybil had a really, really hard time with that. Eventually, life goes on. She ends up becoming a doctor. She was never sure she wanted to be a doctor. She really enjoyed being a nurse. But she did end up becoming a really well-respected doctor. She took care of a lot of women and was really just an advocate for women. And all of the present chapters, I still think feel like a letter to her adopted daughter. So yeah, that was the book. I laughed, I cried, had strong feelings. It was a little too close to home, especially given today's current political climate. But I think it's an important read. I just would also understand and respect someone being like, I read to escape and I can't do this right now. So that is my spiel. It is by a Black author and it is about the Black community. And I thought it was relevant and important to cover this during Black History Month. Again, we're two white women. We don't really know anything. But yeah, it was kind of a nice break from the normal books too. So.
Yeah. Pardon the pun, guys. Dark romance has a chokehold on me. It just is. But this was a good break.
Yeah.
In that.
It was still pretty dark.
It was still dark, but not the same kind of dark.
Yeah.
And you touch on this in your final thoughts about the Tuskegee experiment.
Yes.
That was the reason their original lawyer left. Was because she got called to be part of the team.
Yep, to sue the government over that. So a quick history on that experiment. The U.S. government has done terrible things to its citizens. Communities it can control easily, maybe is the best way to say it. But that experiment is they infected typically Black men, poor Black men, with syphilis and just let them suffer so they could study them, which was like straight out of the World War II Adolf Hitler war book. So, terrible experiment. Should never have done it. I do recommend researching it. I do not recommend looking at the pictures.
That is a good call. Thank you. Yeah.
It's horrifying to read about. And then, I don't know, I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I love a good conspiracy. So it's really easy for me to fall down a rabbit hole. So just be careful. Do your research. Check your sources. Don't trust anything. This wine made the book palatable. I don't know if I would have survived it without wine. This book does, like, it forces you to think about the history and, like, the shit that we've done to people. So, and the fact that it's history repeats itself. So, hope we're all ready for that ride. Any other things you want to add to this?
Other than it being an interesting perspective, because even though she was Black, she was still well off.
Yes.
And seeing how she originally, like, her parents had taught her, you know, we're basically the same as everybody else in our community.
Emphasis on our community.
And her finding out that was not at all true. So it touches on a lot. This book, it's well written. It touches on a lot of heavy topics, and it lets you see something. Like, for me, the perspective was, oh, I've never thought of it that way. But even when I was thinking that, so was Sybil.
Yep.
So it made me think, and it made her think.
Yeah. It was a really, really well written, well thought out book. I want to read more by this author. I think I need a break from the heavy reading for a minute. Like, I need to go back to ACOTAR or something. It's a little bit easier to escape into. Yeah, I hesitate to say that I really enjoyed this book. But this is a book that I keep thinking about. Like, I keep coming back and thinking about it.
Yep.
Does that make more sense?
It does.
It's, I don't know. I think everyone should read it, as heavy as this is, but I'm glad the book club picked it out. I will never forgive You Know Who You Are, the book club member that picked this out. So I hope you cry the next book that we pick out.
You really shouldn't threaten people. It's
well,
nice.
All 4 of our listeners are going to hear it.
Oh,
but anyway, that's Corks and Cauldron today, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was a heavy one.
Thank you for staying along, though, with us.
Yes. Thank you for staying along. Leave your comments if you have thoughts or comments or any other book recommendations. What are you reading? Oh, go ahead.
You don't want to know what I'm reading. If you have something and are not able for some reason to comment on Spotify or Amazon or Apple, because we do allow comments on all of them.
We do. Yep.
Email us
at corksandcauldron@gmail.com. You can message us on Facebook. You can tag us on stuff. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. So hit us up. We try to interact as much as we can. But yeah, if you have any book recs or if you have any comments about this book or if you've read it and you have your thoughts, please let us know.
Leave them.
Yeah.
And you'll see this up early because normally our episodes drop on Thursdays. So it's Wednesday night and this is not going to drop on Thursday. I'm going to work on this on Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Drop after.
Yeah, what a romantic way to spend Valentine's Day.
I'm married, whatever.
No, but for real, what are you reading right now?
Me? All right, hold on. Let me look up the name of this book. So, not that my Kindle's right next to me. I am currently listening through Libby to this book.
It's and I can't wait for you to finish it so we could talk more about it.
Yeah, I'm currently listening to Take My Hand, but I can't listen to it during work hours because I was cussing a lot through our team's chats, and that's bad. I am reading a book called Addicted to the Pain.
Oh.
It is a dark enemies to lovers romance. It's not bad, but I am going to go back to Zodiac Academy because I need something lighter than this. Plus, we're going to be doing a bonus episode on Zodiac Academy, and that's going to be all me.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what our bonus episodes are going to be, I will put them in this show notes.
I am currently rereading Onyx Storm because I am a glutton for punishment.
Is this your third time?
It's only my second time,
Okay.
but I started over. I started completely over. So I started with Fourth Wing, and now I'm
Okay.
on Onyx Storm. And we just met broccoli, and I love broccoli. I don't love
I do love
the
broccoli.
veggie, but I love broccoli.
I love his reasoning for it too. It's good.
It's pretty good. Pretty solid reasoning. But anyway, that's Corks and Cauldrons, folks.
Yes. Thank you
We're
for
so
listening to
sorry.
us. This is not our normal outro.
But follow us on the socials. We're on Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and Threads, and YouTube.
And
We do have a
YouTube.
YouTube channel. Yep. And then
At
you can
Corks and Cauldron.
Yep, at Corks and Cauldron for everything.
Yes.
You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And please, 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 I'm begging you. I am on my hands and knees begging you. Please leave a review. Rate us and review us. It's the best way to get our word out.
If you want to join our Patreon,
Yeah, that's
help
what I
us
meant.
do that because we are self-funded.
It's self-funded labor of love.
Yes. We are at patreon.com/Corks and Cauldron. And there are episodes there. And the Patreon will get you to our Discord also.
Yep. And if you have any book recs that you want us to cover or read, let us know. We're always down for a good book. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you so much.
Until the next time.
Until the next time.
Eat,
Drink,
and get lost in a good book.
See you guys.